Hey y'all, Rick Sky here. Welcome back to another Timepieces for Tomorrow video. And today I've got the Omega SeaMaster 300M Blue Wave dial. And this is the pre-coaxial. So this is one of the old school SeaMasters. Curiously enough, the bracelet, as you might notice, is actually it may be the same, but it's cosmetically very similar to the bracelet that you will find on current reference Omega SeaMaster 300Ms that are coaxial, and they have the ceramic bezel instead of the aluminum bezel insert like this. So within this video I want to talk about, and actually this is a response from several of my Timepieces for Tomorrow viewers. Thanks for your subscriptions, thanks for your support, and thanks for the questions. But you know, people asked, what should Omega release in 2022? So I'm a big Omega fan. You know, it's one of the top tier wristwatch brands for sports watches. Obviously, you've also got Rolex, Breitling, and Tudor. You know, those immediately come to mind when I think about Omega. You know, there's so many different tiers of wristwatches, but when I think of ones that are closely linked as far as price and references that they offer, those brands immediately come to mind. But Omega is a very interesting brand. Omega, at times in the past, they were often more highly regarded than Rolex. Omega makes a very solid timepiece. Now, historically, Omega did not always use in-house movements. You know, Rolex, with the exception of the Zenith movement and the Daytona, or a few of the Daytona references, and if there's more where Rolex used third-party movements, let me know, but the only one that comes to mind is Zenith. But Omega did use a lot of ETA movements. Now, Omega today is more in-house. So, you know, nothing wrong with those ETA movements, but, you know, in-house just adds an additional level of prestige. But with all of this being said, I'm getting to where I want to go. What should Omega release in 2022? So Omega now is as I just indicated, kind of a different brand. You know, they've gone in-house. Their prices have gone up market. You know, they're trying to more closely align their brand image with Rolex, because inevitably Rolex and Omega go neck and neck as far as competition is concerned. Now, Tudor's in that pot now as well, because Tudor's gone more up market. Check out my other videos about Tudor. But yeah, Omega in 2022, they need to release something, in my opinion, the SeaMaster, obviously the Omega SeaMaster, and then also the Omega SpeedMaster, the moonwatch. You know, those are the two, what I would refer to as core reference Omega timepieces. Now, they have several different versions of the SeaMaster. They also have several different versions of the SpeedMaster. So what I would like to see in the SeaMaster, for example, and again, this is a 25-plus-year-old timepiece, but what I would like to see with a SeaMaster is them to step away from this style bracelet. Now, they've done that in some of their, it's the Omega SeaMaster 300, which is a heritage-looking timepiece. It looks amazing, but it's got a very cool bracelet. Now, the SeaMaster 300Ms, the current references, they still have this same style bracelet. You know, at a minimum, I think what Omega could do is add a taper to this bracelet, because the way that it's if it is tapered, it's not noticeably tapered. It's got a very old school style look, even on the current reference Omega SeaMaster 300Ms. I think they could taper the bracelet if they wanted to retain this same design. They could do that. But ultimately, what I would like to see, and they've done it with the, what was it, the titanium James Bond, I forget the reference, but they added that shark mesh style bracelet. That looks really cool. I'd like to see that type of bracelet on some of their stainless steel, on some of Omega's stainless steel SeaMaster 300M wristwatches. I think that would be nice. I also think that vintage style bracelet that they have on the Omega SeaMaster 300, that could look cool if they did it a little bit differently, you know, to differentiate it from the 300s. Not to confuse the 300 with the 300M, but, you know, something similar to that. I mean, obviously, you see them on the wrist, you're going to be able to decipher an Omega SeaMaster 300M from the Heritage 300. It's a completely different design. You know, that's more vintage look, the dial, the bezel. But I think a new bracelet would be a welcome addition to the Omega SeaMaster 300M. And as far as new timepieces that I think Omega should bring to the table for 2022. And I tried one on in St. Bart's, and I didn't get it. It's currently discontinued, but it was the Omega SpeedMaster Mark II, and it had the orange hands. It was an incredible timepiece. The bracelet looked and felt incredible. The dial with the orange was really amazing, and I almost got it. And the only reason I didn't get it, I went with a Panerai PAM 112 instead, because the PAM 112 is a core reference Panerai Luminor, and I couldn't pass that up. And I was like, well, Omega, they typically don't continue their pieces that rapidly. And sure enough, that Omega SpeedMaster Mark II with the orange hands that I liked, it was discontinued not long after that. So I missed an opportunity. I took a gamble. I'm like, well, the Panerai is going to be hard to find in a PAM 112. Omega is probably going to be pretty common. And, well, looking back at it, would I have ever found a PAM 112 at retail again? Probably not. So I still know that I made the correct decision, but I would like to see Omega in 2022 relaunch the Mark II. And I think, and I haven't looked at their website to see if it's still there, but they still had the Mark II, but I think it was a two-tone, and they may have had one version that wasn't two-tone, that was just stainless, but they didn't have the one with the orange hands. They need to bring something with the orange hands back in the SpeedMaster Mark II, because I think that looks incredible. Obviously, what Omega is doing with their Aquaterra line. Aquaterra is a great piece. If you want something, you don't want the dive bezel, you want something that's still highly water resistant, something that you could wear, with a suit, or you could wear for a swim or whatever, that's a great option. And actually, I look at the Omega Aquaterra line as something that kind of goes neck and neck with Rolex Datejust. It's kind of a hybrid of a dress watch and then also a wear anywhere, highly water resistant watch with screw down crown. So, additional Omega Aquaterra references would be great. And then ultimately, I think they pretty much got the moonwatch covered, the SpeedMaster. I'm not a fan of the SpeedMaster once you step outside of the moonwatch, because I think it just kind of dilutes in my opinion, and I don't mean this in a bad way, because most of the Omega SpeedMaster references look really nice, but I think the SpeedMaster, in my mind, will always remain the moon watch. It's the watch that was on the moon. Now, although I don't want a moon watch, and I don't have a moon watch right now, but I don't want a moon watch with a Hezolite crystal. I know that's the original. It's kind of the plasticky crystal that, is true to what was worn on the moon. Although I don't want that, because I'd actually want to wear it. What I do think would be nice, if they could do it without changing the design of the timepiece, if Omega could somehow release a SpeedMaster moon watch that has screw-down crowns. Or not screw-down crowns, but screw-down pushers and a screw-down crown. That way, not in the Hezolite, but in the sapphire, preferably the sapphire sandwich, sapphire on the top, sapphire exhibition case back, if they could somehow add, without modifying the aesthetic of the piece, if they could add screw-down pushers and a screw-down crown to the SpeedMaster Moonwatch, that would be a total win, because then you've got something that people could consider, okay, well, this is something I could potentially get a one and done. I could swim with it. It's it's got a chronograph. It's the moon watch. But see, that's what deters, and maybe not a lot of people, but that's what's deterred me from the Omega SpeedMaster Moonwatch, is that I don't have the screw down pushers. I don't have that water resistance. I can't swim with it like I can my Submariner or my Tudor Black Bay Chrono. And that's actually the reason I went with the Tudor Black Bay Chrono, is because it has screw down crown and screw down pushers with a stated water resistance of 600 feet or 660 feet, 200 meters. So I think if Omega could somehow add screw down pushers and acceptable water resistance to their Moonwatch, that would be awesome, because then they would bring in a whole new camp of people. People that otherwise would pass it up because it's like, well, I get that, but it's not highly water resistant. But if they made it highly water resistant, then that would open up the floodgates for a lot more people to consider the the Omega SpeedMaster Moonwatch as a one and done. Maybe it's their only one watch. So a lot of things from Omega. I'm not a fan of their huge wristwatch trends change, and I know many years ago, probably back around the 2000s to maybe 2009 or so, that a large wristwatch was kind of the thing. That's when Panerai was really big, really popular. That's when things like the Breitling Super Avenger 2 or the Super Avenger were very popular. That was before the 2 came out. The larger wristwatches. But for that reason, with the Omega Planet Oceans, they're just, by today's standards, they're a little bit too large for me. I would like to see Omega in 2022 release a lot more references that fall in between the 39 millimeter to 42 millimeter size range. I think 39 millimeters to 42 millimeters is kind of the sweet spot for a lot of men. I mean, everybody's wrist size varies. I've got a 7.5 inch wrist, but if I wear something that's 39 to 42, it typically always looks perfect. So, I'd like to see some more offerings in that size. But I don't know, what do you think? What would you like to see Omega release in 2022? Comment below. These are just my opinions, and I wanted to share them because several viewers asked, well, what would you like to see Omega release in 2022? So these are my opinions. What do you think? Do I have good opinions, or what are your opinions? Comment below and be sure to subscribe and ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. And if you're looking for timepieces for tomorrow merchandise, I don't have my sweatshirt on today because it's in the I'm cleaning it, man. I put it in the washing machine. But if you're looking for sweatshirts, t-shirts, stickers, coffee mugs, pint glasses, and more, look down below. I've got a ton of timepieces for tomorrow merchandise already available, and I've got a lot more that I'm designing. So check it out. Subscribe to my channel. That'll help to support my channel. You can also choose to support me on Patreon. I've got a link to that below. You can join as a channel member. I've got, you can click become a member or whatever it is in YouTube. But most importantly, just subscribe to my channel, share with your friends. Help me grow. I want to get past 100,000 subscribers as quickly as possible. And appreciate y'all's support. Y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Captain Irix Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.